Hello Switch fans and welcome to a Comedy Future Gamecast. I'll be your host, I'm KG, and for today's game we go back in Langres, the most played map on the beta, or at least the most shoutcasted map on the beta, and we take a look at the Panzer Elite versus US game. I have not covered Panzer Elite games in quite a while, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to see how this faction that admittedly had gone into decline for the duration of the 2.601 patch for Company of Heroes, how it plays out in the beta. So without further ado, let's go into the game. We are currently past the 5-second mark. We'll be unpausing in 3, 2, 1, go. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So, as I was saying, PE kind of had it rough in the retail version of Company of Heroes for quite a long time. Had to deal with a lot of strafes, had to deal with the G43 weapon upgrade that actually did not seem to be that effective even at the range that it was supposed to be killing stuff. I know, and it always had the problem of how to deal with the American vehicles, armored vehicles that is, and the occasional 80 gun that the American players threw into the mix and made stuff blow up for the Panzer Elite. Panzer Elite player focusing in the west portion of the map. He has spawned in the south of Langres and is actually AcousticRy. I forgot to introduce the player we got. AcousticRy playing as the Panzer Elite and SealCat playing as the US. I wasn't able to find that much of information for those players, except of course for their leaderboard profiles. AcousticRy plays predominantly Panzer Elite, and he is level 10 on the leaderboard, and SealCat plays predominantly Wehrmacht and is level 13, so a good deal of experience on these guys. Have quite a number of games played, and we'll see how they demonstrate that experience that they have here. For the moment being, AcousticRy actually managed to push away the first rifleman squad out of the American player's base, and he has set camp in that all-important strategic sector outside to the south of the North player's base. So if he is able to hold that cutoff for quite a while, that of course will be quite significant. Second rifleman squad out for the American player meets of course immediately the fire of the Panzer Grenadiers, so the American player will either have to focus on some other area of the map, or will just have to amass that critical number of riflemen and just push straight up against the G43 and the vanilla Panzer Grenadier squad. However, he opts not to deal with them. He moves to the east portion of the map, trying to take on the third Panzer Grenadier squad that have made their way there, and he utilizes his remaining, his second engineer in an unusual position, trying to cap the medium munition point to the south of the map. Well, actually that engineer took fire from the third Panzer Grenadier squad, so opting not to retreat and keep it around for a bit more of capping is not bad at all. However, the American player is still cut off from the east and is only now moving out with his third rifleman squad, and will most probably be capping the strategic sector that of course will enable him to get that resource income that he so desperately needs. Riflemen capping under fire and now kind of slowly retreating back. They are actually forced to retreat fully. However, they may go down on the retreat, and yes, they are. So that was an unfortunate choice by the American player to stay under fire and cap that medium fuel point there, which of course meant that he took massive damage, and now his retreat was late as well. So a loss of rifleman squad, being disconnected from the east portion of the map for quite a while, And combine those two things, and you have a mixture of of events that is actually hard to deal with for every American player. 5 Pigren squads out for the Panzer Elite player, and now he has made his move, getting a logistic company out. Logistic company, of course, comes with some nifty upgrades for the Pigrens, including the increased squad sizes, and given the fact that the Panzer Elite player has invested in a lot of infantry squads, I wouldn't be surprised at all if I saw that particular upgrade. Some riflemen hanging out by the strategic sector outside of their base, probably setting camp there, trying to prevent any harassment by the Panzer Elite player. However, 2 squads of Pigrens at long range will be enough to dislodge those riflemen. This time the American player kind of retreats rather prematurely, but in any case it was a sound choice. He has a Triascender up in his base, so that of course means that he will be able to heal up his infantry, which is gonna help him take on that admittedly superior not only in numbers but even in upgrades should the Panzer Grenadiers wish to get some more G43s. And yeah, what is the taking indication back into the PE player's base? He just went straight from getting his logistic company to getting his Panzer Jäger command. So I was proved wrong. He's not going to be getting any upgrades out of the logistic company. He's just opting for some armor play, for some light armor play out of the Panzer Jäger command, which I'm guessing will be, it could be a fast armor car, or even some martyrs. I mean, he has not seen any rifleman upgrades up to now by the American player, and he may be thinking that something is coming, and that something is an armor vehicle by the American player, an M8 or a T-17, which may actually be the case. However, we do not have any indication of a motorboat going up by the American player, probably as a result of his early starvation income-wise, because of that cut-off outside of his base. So eventually we will see something, because that's what seems to be happening right now, unless the riflemen are getting some form of upgrade, since the barracks is actually indicating something is being built, but that something is another squad of riflemen. So eventually the American player replenishes that loss of the that early loss of the rifleman squad. He's now back up to 4 rifleman squads. His manpower situation, however, will not be that great, so I'm not going to be predicting any motor pool coming out anytime now. And that AC, the armor car by the PE player that is on the field, is going to be a pain to deal with for the American player. That armor car not particularly fast. It came at the 7 minute and 38, 39, 40 second mark, and mostly because the PE player invested in many Pigren squads. Many Pigren squads that 2 of them are actually forced into a retreat from the oncoming forces of the American player, predominantly riflemen with the help of some flamethrower engineers. And we even may have a Pigren squad going down to the fire of those riflemen, and yes, indeed, it went down, so that armor cart is not really utilized at its full effect. It was attempting to take on some riflemen in light cover from afar. Will eventually have to back off and get into the safety of the PE player's base. Another armor cam coming out for the PE player, and no defensive operations up for him, which of course means that his Pigrens will not be healed at all, and that of course makes them susceptible to taking losses early in the fights. However, that second armor car will of course inflict that manpower drain onto the American player that I'm not so sure whether he needs to stay in that fight at all. He will inflict some damage with his riflemen on those armor cars, but those armor cars will most probably be repaired, and the only result that will come out of it is that you will give the armor cars veterancy, and you'll just have to spend so much manpower reinforcing your riflemen that it may turn out that you do not have enough manpower to build a motor pool that it's so desperately needed for the American player at this moment in the game. So while the American player is reinforcing, and while the P player tries to take back a part of the map, mostly the center and the east as it seems, he even gets his first Luftwaffe squad out, so that's an indication that, of course, he has chosen Luftwaffe tactics. And those Luftwaffe, of course, have an increased repair speed, will most probably be used to get those aces back in top shape, although the Pigrants even started doing that already. And we even have the motor pool up by the American player. The motor pool is up, something is being built. I'm guessing either an M8 T-17 or an 80 gun, and am I not great? I just enumerated like 90% of the units that can come out of the motor pool. Was that a fast build time on the AM8? Came out kind of quick. Maybe the American player is armor. We'll have to wait and see. However, there is a light 80 half-track out on the field by the Panzer Elite player, which of course means the M8 will have a counter, will be able to be thread broken and maybe even immobilized and then killed. And the American player just drives his M8 right into the P player's forces. The aces are causing massive damage. Oh my god, the M8 was immobilized by the light 80 half-track, tried to lay down a mine, and then the mine was blown up by a stray shot of either the aces or the light 80 half-track. The mine blew up, the M8 went down, and the P player almost took no losses except for a P Grand squad that went down. That was messy, I can tell you that. Supposedly that M8 should have been used rather defensively, trying to scout the front, take some damage, cause some damage, have the engineers nearby, repair it when the inevitable threadbreaker ability came into play. However, the American player just charged it in. His engineers were nowhere to be found. They were charging before the M8. They took heavy damage from the aces, and what came out of that was that you just donated the M8 and some manpower to the P player, which is something that you do not want to be seeing. Now, defensive operation is actually up, so P player actually did the right thing. He moved his light 80 half-track back into his base so that his ability can be recharged swiftly. That is, he can use the threadbreaker once again, and American player just charging in once again. However, this time he does not have an M8, he has an 80 gun in the back, so that is going to be much easier to deal with for him and a little bit more difficult to respond to by the P player, since he now has to either overrun this 80 gun with his infantry, which is kind of difficult to do with other riflemen and engineers lying around. So he needs to get some indirect form of weaponry, maybe a mortar. He doesn't have his tier up that will give him the mortar. However, he even lost the light 80 half-track to the fire, of course, of the 80 gun. However, he has a flank incoming from the east. 2 aces with veterancy level 1 given to defensive, may be able to take